All right, so now let's look at the next example. So now they're telling me to find the roots of the quadratic equation, which is the same thing as saying, hey, find your x-intercepts, find your solutions, find your zeros. So we're going to work this the same way. So now I have f of x is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 16. Well, f of x is just another name for y, and when we are finding intercepts or roots or zeros, or solutions of a quadratic equation, y has to be equal to 0. So this is like 0 is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 16. So now I'm going to use my calculator and clear out what I had. And now I'm going to type in x squared plus 8x plus 16. And I'm going to go to my table. And this time it just starts at -2. So I'm going to do 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and graph my equation on my paper. So -2, 4, -2, 4, -1, 9, 0, 16 is off the graph. 125 is off the graph, and 236. So now we're gonna plot some more points because it looks like my graph is going this way. So now let's see if I can get some -3, 1, -4, 0, -5, 1, -6, -4. I'm sorry, -6, 4. -7, 9. So it looks like this is how it goes. So remember, if we're finding roots, then we're looking for the x-intercept. Where's my graph crossing the x-axis? And it looks like it's crossing here, and it's only crossing once, so I only have one solution, and that solution is when x is equal to, and what number is that? -1, -2, -3, -4 is my solution, which I didn't see in my table, but I went to other values in my graphing calculator to help me finish sketching out this picture because it was going up, it just wasn't coming back down and going back up again. So now let's write our domain and our range. Again, it's a quadratic, so our domain is all real numbers. Our range, how low does it go on the y-axis? So if we go down the y-axis until our graph line stops being drawn, it stops right here, and that is 0. And then how high does it go? Well, if I go up the y-axis and I look at my graph line, I'm going to run into arrows, so it never stops going up. So y is greater than 0, but do I need a solid line? And the answer is yes, because I have a solid point where y is equal to 0. So y is greater than or equal to 0 for my range. All right, last equation. Finding the x-intercepts of the quadratic equation by graphing. So I've got 2x squared equals 2. So remember, we want to set each term to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over. And when I do, it's going to change that to a -2. So I'm going to have 2x squared minus 2 equals 0. And remember, that 0 is y. It's just we're writing a 0 instead of y because we're looking for our x-intercepts, and when we cross the x-axis, y has a value of 0. So now I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to type this in. So I'm going to type in 2x squared minus 2, and I'm going to go to my table, and I've kind of already got a table started for you. -3 has a value of 16, -2, 6, -1, 0, 0, -2, 1, 0, 2, 6, 3, 16. Okay, so again, we want to find our zeros, find our Oreos. So I can see those in my table. So those are where I have solutions. So now I'm going to start graphing. So -3, 16. Doesn't fit on the graph, so let's do -2, 6. -1, 0. 0, -2, 1, 0, 2, 6. And you can see these are symmetrical, so the points kind of line up. And you can see I have two solutions because my graph crosses the x-axis twice, and you can see this is my vertex point. It happens to be the lowest spot on the graph. And so now I can write my solution. So x is equal to my roots, my intercepts. My solutions are -1 and +1. So -1 and 1. Those are my solutions. And so now I'm going to write my domain and range. Again, for a quadratic, the domain is all real numbers, because I have arrows on the left and right end of my graph. For my range, the lowest that I go to is -2 on the y-axis, and if I go up, I run into arrows, which means I never stop going up, so my y has to be greater than or equal to -2. So you're going to practice on your homework. You're going to practice graphing. You're going to find the vertex point. You're going to find your zeros, your x-intercepts, your roots, your solutions, because it's going to be where your graph crosses the y-axis. So remember to look back at your kind of cheat sheet. If it crosses twice, you're going to have 2 solutions. So what are those numbers at? If you only touch the x-axis once, that means your solution and your vertex are the same point. And if your graph does not cross the x-axis at all, you will have 0 real solutions, no real solutions.